Instagram, and we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I'm going to give everybody who would like to join an opportunity to hop on, take a second, get yourself situated so you can join us on today's live. Um, today's live, we're talking about beauty in the breakdowns, and breakthroughs. I think it's an appropriate topic because we all go through this. And so as you guys are joining, please hop on, let me know where you're from, give a little hello, a little shout out. So I'm going to let the system calibrate, let the world know that we are live. This is our third Inspired Insights Live. I started this in December, and you guys seem to like it. So I'm going to continue doing it at least once a month. And if you guys really like it and you want me to be live more often, then I will do that too. So, it's all about you and adding value to the world. And if this is something that you love, I'm happy to do it. So, yeah, so while you guys are hopping on, I'm just going to go ahead and get into it because the reason why I wanted to talk about breakdowns and breakthroughs is because, I've been through it too myself. And it's kind of funny. So like, this is just something that I've been thinking about myself and things that I've gone through. And usually there is, there's this Imogen Heap song where she says, there's beauty in the breakdown. And there really is a beauty in the breakdown, or at least the beauty is not in the actual breakdown because, that can be pretty ugly. But there is beauty in what comes out of it. And so a lot of the times what I've noticed in life is that sometimes things need to break down in order for you to break them or to build them up to build them up in a way that's better. And a lot of the time we are working towards something and we want something, but things just aren't aligning. And then things just happen to break down so that you can rebuild them in a way that is aligned with what you actually want. And I hate to bring in, not I hate to bring in, I'm a big Formula One fan, and I was watching Drive to Survive, and it was funny, they were talking about one of the teams. I won't go into exact details, but the thought struck me that, the team kind of had to get to a point where things had to break down, where changes did have to get made. And I see that all the time in my own life and in the lives of others that, when things aren't working and we just continue persisting, a lot of the time we can get to a point where it's just not going to work anymore and you just have to start over. And also going from my own life, breakdowns are so great in the sense that they get us to a point where we're just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And they help you get focus of what you really do want. And so you can rebuild in a new way. Now, obviously, we don't want to get to a point of breakdown. So it's really great to be able to see the signs of what's building for you and what's happening so you don't get to that point. Because like I said earlier, so often we try to push for things even though things aren't working out. So I'll give you an example. This could be in our interpersonal relationships. Maybe you started dating someone and it's got that feeling that it's not right, but you just still keep pushing through. And one way or another, later on you knew that it wasn't right, but you just kept pushing and it needed to break down so you could meet that right partner for you. Even in, when we move to the business side of things, in a job or with certain paths that you're going down, sometimes, you're saying that you want to build certain things, but you're on a different path. So the paths don't align. So one path needs to break down so that you can get to the next path and that you can get to that place you want to go to. So first thing with breakdowns are acknowledging what's going on. And I've been through a lot of these in my own life. And a huge thing is actually acknowledging our own emotions and what's going on in our own lives, like what's happening for ourselves, because we've been taught that in order to be strong and to be successful, that you need to repress your emotions and that you kind of need to repress who you are and your likes and desires and everything like that. So there's a slight caveat, and we've talked about this beforehand. You don't need to tell everybody all the crap that went wrong on your way to work or on your way to hearing or whatever, but we are human beings, and it is not healthy to repress your emotions. So you have to allow yourself to honor what is coming up for you. And generally, when things aren't right or things are happening in a certain way, you feel it. And pushing it down is not going to help you. It's only going to bottle it up. So you're going to get to a point of explosion or a point of breakdown. And then that's not good for everyone. Hey, William, thanks for joining us. We're talking about the beauty in the breakdown, breakdowns, and breakthroughs. And so we really just have to acknowledge what is coming up for us in that moment. So whatever emotions that you're experiencing, if you can't really deal with it in that moment, allow yourself to deal with it later on. And this is why I'm a huge proponent of taking time for yourself every day to kind of like go through what's coming up. And when you're able to work through what's coming up for you, this will also allow you to start releasing things that you've suppressed, and it'll keep you from getting to this complete point of breakdown, which is never good, which can be anything from burnout to, things just going really, really wrong. And we want to try and avoid that. So it's really important for us to acknowledge what is coming up for us, what we are happy with, what we can work on, and really just follow those feelings that are coming up for us, because these are like, we have to follow our internal guidance system. Our internal guidance system is always going to lead us right. It's through, your ability to use your superpowers. If there's things that like you're doing on a daily basis that you just feel like you're dying inside, listen to it and allow yourself to acknowledge that these are things that are not aligned with you, and start thinking of things that you're great at, that you love to do, and find ways, if these are tasks that just aren't aligned with you, there are ways that you can outsource those tasks. Or if it's something that that's an area of work that you're doing, start exploring other opportunities, because you have to take personal responsibility for your own happiness. And if we do get to that point of breakdown, this is also great, because you've gotten to the point where you're like, no more, I can't take it, I'm not going to take it, and we're going to move forward this way. Now, I say it's good because everything is happening for us. Yes, there are times when you're at that point and everybody else doesn't know that you're there. And so I think that it's really important to acknowledge the human factor, because you just don't know what's going on in somebody else. And also from yourself, like when you're getting to that point, I know it's hard, because when you're in that point of breakdown, it's just like you're seeing red and you can't acknowledge anything else. But just know that everything is happening for you, because what I've noticed in my own life and in observation of other people's lives and those that I work with is that when you do get to that point of breakdown and you've said, okay, no more, and you do kind of have to rebuild, it gives you an opportunity to rebuild in a way that is more aligned with what you want. And, sometimes in that moment, you don't really want to rebuild and you're just like, oh, do I really need to do this? But there really is beauty in the rebuilding. And that's why I said there's beauty in the breakdown, because when you do have that opportunity to rebuild and create something that's more aligned with what you want, and, keep in mind, we're evolving beings. If you're not, I know I've said this before, if you're not, I personally think if you're not growing, you're dying. And growth is a normal part of life. And sometimes, going back to garden analogies, because, I love to garden, sometimes you do need to snip growth that is not so, like, for example, on a tomato plant, you have to prune your tomatoes so that you can get juicier tomatoes on one end. We have to be able to align ourselves with those things that we want, and allow ourselves to embrace what we want, and allow ourselves to also acknowledge what's not working, and be courageous enough to stand up and say, okay, this is not working in my life. What can I do to move forward in a way that is best for me? Because if you don't put that oxygen mask on yourself first, nobody else can thrive. So this is really just all I wanted to talk about today. And also just say that if you are in a place where you are feeling just completely overwhelmed and shit's just hitting the fan, and you're just in that place of breakdown, or you feel like things are starting to break down, you're holding onto the reins and you feel like you're riding 4 horses and you don't even know how to control any of one of them, it's okay. Take a breath. One, you're not in this alone. You can always reach out to me and see if there's anything that I can do to help you. You have friends, you have family. We are not alone in this world. I was listening to something this morning, and it was really beautiful because, we live in this world where oftentimes people believe in lack, where, people are feeling lonely, but there's so many people in this world. So how can you feel lonely? These are things that like you experience within yourself. So if you do need help, do not hesitate to reach out, because we're all in this together and we've all been in those places. And so reach out to one person, and if they can't help you, maybe you can find someone else. And if it's something that I can help you with, you know how to get in contact with me. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. I'm here to help. Make sure you guys can harness your superpowers and work in your superpowers and really practice from that place of passion and joy, because when we are practicing from that place of passion and joy, this transfers on to everyone else that we're serving, and it ultimately makes the world a better place. There is nobody out there like you who can harness your own unique superpowers, and that also means that you are special in those that you serve, and that there is more than enough for everybody. So if you're in that place where things are breaking down, just know that it's okay. Really allow yourself to get curious about what's going on, what's not fitting, where is it misaligned. We often know where it's misaligned. Just we have to be courageous enough to admit to ourselves that it's misaligned, and to start making the shift. And you don't need to make grand gestures. It can be one day at a time, and it's one step at a time, one thought at a time, one request for help at a time. So that's it, guys. It was a short and sweet live. We're gonna keep it short. I hope that this content, what do I mean? I hope. I know that this content was helpful to someone. Hopefully, all of you. Please do let me know how it hit for you, what kind of insights you got out of it, what you'd like me to talk about in the next live. Like, what do you guys want to hear from me, and how else I can support you. So wishing you guys the most incredible rest of your days. Make it amazing, and just know that you're not alone and you got this. All right, guys. See ya. Thanks for joining.